All right. So we are going to be looking at a new gun that just came out at the EOS show 2025. I believe that is one of the sort of European equivalents to SHOT Show, if I'm not mistaken. This is a pretty interesting project, and I know they've been working on it for about 10 years because I remember seeing it SHOT Show 2015, if I recall, that Pietta, the Italian maker, mostly of replicas of Old West guns, think your Colt percussion revolvers, single action armies, Remington percussion revolvers. They have come out with a clone of the original Colt Python. And from what I'm seeing, it appears that it might actually have the original lock work, unlike the new Python that Colt is currently making, which is an updated and refined sort of version of the lock work. This thing looks like it actually might have the old style lock work that you can really trace to the 1890s, 1893 specifically with Colt, with the new pocket and new police. So we're looking at some pictures of this. Looks like one of the models that they're going to be offering. Well, first I'll read the news release. It was a surprise to find on display at the FAP DEI. I can't even read this. At the Pietta stand at the 2025 edition of EOS, the new Pietta PDA, Pietta Double Action Revolver, in .357 Magnum caliber, a project that Pietta had been working on for a while and which is finally on the home straight. The Pietta Double Action Revolver is a clone of the legendary Colt Python in its first incarnation, that of the 1950s. Made entirely of steel with a walnut grip, the Pietta Double Action features a stainless hammer, a 6-shot cylinder, and adjustable target rear sight. It will initially be produced in a version with a 6-inch barrel equipped with a ventilated rib, a blued finish, but other types of finishes and 3 other barrel lengths, 2, 4, and 8 inches, are planned for the future. Entirely made in Italy, Pietta's PDA revolver should arrive on the Italian market in the second half of 2025 at an expected starting price of around 1,200 euros, decidedly more affordable than that of the Colt Pythons currently in production or those on the used market. I can't comment to that because I do not know what a new or old Python goes for in Europe. I can tell you if that translates to dollars, that sounds about the same to me as a new Python, but like I said, it probably doesn't, and there's no telling what they go for in Europe. But it's pretty interesting. So just based on that article, Thomas, what are kind of your thoughts on this project?
Well, first I'll say I'm a Python novice. I have one of the new ones. I don't think I've ever even touched an original one, but based on just the pictures I'm looking at, it looks like an old one. I mean, you can't do the marking, so put them aside, but everything else on this, that looks it. I mean, it's got the polished sides of the hammer, the rest is blued. It looks like it's the old style. And the grips look like Python grips. I think it'll be a pretty good success. My hope, would be that maybe they would move into some kind of the weirder, double action options, things that are kinda harder to find. Because I mean, if you're looking for a Python, there's plenty of them going around, they're just expensive. But, I mean, if you're gonna do a double action clone, you're gonna start with the Python. So that's what I got on it.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this because obviously they're starting with the European market, and I can't comment because I don't know what a new or an old Python goes for there. I think Colt's new Python addressed some legitimate issues that the lock work of the original had, and we're going to be doing a video in the future actually comparing the lock work of an old Python and a new Python and showing uh, really the design improvements that the new one has. But for this, if this is the original lock work, like I said, I think that's an interesting choice. It won't be as strong as the new ones in the action department as far as staying in time and stuff like that. But yeah, just looking at it, it does appear to be just from the cutout of the side plate, um, the shape of the hammer, trigger, it's very similar to an old one, and, I would assume it's got the old style lockwork. It's just hard to say how this will do in the European market, not knowing the status of actual Colts. Now, I can tell you if this were to come to the American market, I don't see it doing very well unless it's significantly cheaper than a new Python, because there's just no reason to buy this over one of the new Pythons. Like if it's got the old style lock work, it's not going to be as strong of an action. Do you want to butt in?
Yeah, I agree. Cause the thing I'm seeing here is if it's as expensive as a new one, just buy the real Colt. If it's less expensive, still probably just buy the new Colt, and if you're really wanting that original lockwork, that means you're super into, Colt's products and stuff. You're a Colt collector, and if you're a Colt collector, you're not gonna be satisfied with this. So it's I don't know, I think it's trying to fill a niche that doesn't really exist.
And it is worth pointing out that they first showed off the prototype in 2015, which was 5 years before Colt had announced that they were going to be making the Python again. So this could be kind of a case of starting this, and they had so much invested in tooling and whatnot that when Colt came out with the new Python, they were like, "Well, we've already invested. We might as well just make it and see if it sells." But yeah, if this were to come to the U.S. market, I don't know. I just like I said, I mean, I don't know what would I give for it. I don't know, maybe $700. Anything above that, and I'd rather just so to say, I hate to do a pun, but I'd rather pony up and buy the real Colt. Um, Now, this could be interesting. If it really is the original lockwork, this could improve the parts situation for people that own old Pythons if you had a good source of parts for them. Um, but I don't know. I would have kind of rather seen Pietta make something that Colt's not making, like a new service
Yeah.
or a blued steel detective special, you know?
Well, and that would fit their model more because, I mean, if I look at their products, I'm seeing things what's the newest thing they make? Probably a Schofield, 1875. So, it wouldn't be crazy
You birdie, mate.
well, you Birdie, but Pietta's in that cowboy action, scene. So, it wouldn't be a crazy leap to go to the 1880s or 90s with some kinda double action. So I don't know why they're jumping nearly 100 years into the future to do a 1950s Python. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, like I said, I think they must have started this before Colt announced that
Yeah.
they were making it. But like I said, if this thing's like $700 in the US,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
I'll give it a try. But much more than that, and I'd rather have the improvements of the new action on the Python, and, a lot of people, your FUDs on some of the forums and stuff say, "Well, they ain't got the hand fitting, son, so they ain't a real Colt, and they're not as slick as old Python, blah, blah, blah." I'm here to tell you we're gonna do a Lockwork series on old versus new Python, and you will see that there's not a single change they made that isn't an objective improvement. There's not. There's not a single change they made that you can say, "Well, the old way was a better way of doing it." There's not. Not a single change. Now, you could argue that maybe the serial number on the side and the QR code thing, that's a downgrade. The rear sight's a downgrade. But as far as the lock work, every single change that they made is objectively an improvement. Um, so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. It's got a decent looking set of grips on it. Like I said, it's got the correct shape for a Python hammer. It's closer to the original than the new ones are, and the trigger is too. The more sharper curve of the original Python on that trigger. Two pins on the front sight, pretty interesting. I don't know. I kind of prefer the easily changeable ones on the new one. If Colt would ever make those tritium sights easy to find and available. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know. It's interesting just looking at the pictures. Looks it's a good looking gun. Obviously, I mean it looks nearly identical to an old Python, just different markings, different medallions on the grips, stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see where this goes. If they do come to the U.S. and they're not, even if they are expensive, we'll probably try to get one if they come to the US, just for the sake of tearing into it and doing a lock work episode. I think a lot of people would be very interested in that. But yeah, just wanted to bring you this news, kind of talking about this interesting choice that Pietta has made, and hopefully it pans out for him. We'll see. Hopefully it improves the parts situation for old Colts. We'll see. But that's all. We just wanted to share this news with you guys. Kind of an exciting product, even if I don't think it'll do that well. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up, and we will catch you all on the next one. Thanks.